Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another amazing cooking workshop with Feed the Mass in partnership with Black Men's Wellness and OHSU. I'm Darrell Wade, the founder of Black Men's Wellness, and to my left, we have the amazing...
I'm Tracy Severson. I'm a dietitian with OHSU's Center for Preventive Cardiology.
All right, can you tell us a little bit about...
Yeah, so tonight we'll be making a spiced chickpea and vegetable bowl. So making a variety of kind of plant-based ingredients that are all heart healthy and designed to improve blood pressure.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the Center for Cardiology and what your program offers?
Yeah, so we're with the Center for Preventive Cardiology, which is a program at OHSU where we see patients for a variety of heart issues, and someone who's healthy can come in just to have an overall cardiac risk assessment to make sure their heart is as healthy as it can be, all the way to people who have had heart attacks or have heart disease who want to come in to make sure that they're keeping their heart as healthy for the future. So all of our patients get a visit with the dietitian, with me, at no extra charge. It's just included as part of our visit. And it's just a really great program for the community.
It sounds amazing. I also see that we have a cookbook back here.
Yeah, we do have a cookbook that's part of our Heart Protection Kitchen cooking program, which is a series of cooking demonstrations for our patients that are led by our hospital chef, by our cardiologists at OHSU, by our, we have pharmacists and nurses who also teach the classes, and they're free cooking classes for our patients, so any cardiology patient at OHSU is invited. And we did publish a cookbook a couple of years ago with all of the recipes that we've prepared. So all the recipes in the cookbook are going to be heart healthy, appropriate for anyone trying to keep their heart healthy. And we do have 30 copies to give away for our participants tonight. So if you are interested in getting a copy of the cookbook, you can go to our Instagram page at Feed the Mass and send us a DM and like us, and then we will contact you about getting a copy.
So the first 30 people to DM us at Feed the Mass will get a copy. Make sure you guys do that. Slide into those DMs and get your free cookbook. It's a pretty amazing cookbook for one. Yeah. With that said, we have some pretty amazing looking a table here with ingredients. Why don't you tell us what we're going to be using?
Absolutely.
To make our meal today?
Yeah, so we have, I know it looks like a lot of ingredients here, but they're all very inexpensive and easy to find at regular grocery stores. We're going to start by making some brown rice, and then we're going to roast some mushrooms and carrots with a spice mixture, and we'll make a quick pickled onion to go on top. We're also going to saute some chickpeas with garlic and then make a tahini lemon sauce.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And with that said, let's get into our...
All right. So first up, I'm going to get the rice going. I'm going to cook it in a rice cooker. You can always cook brown rice on the stovetop if you would rather. So I'm going to first just rinse the rice off quickly. And then add it to our Instant Pot. So I'm making this in the Instant Pot. The recipe has instructions just for making rice on the stovetop, but if you're doing it in the Instant Pot, you use the same amount of rice and water. If you're doing it on the stovetop, it's 2 times the water to rice. And add a little bit of olive oil if you're cooking it in a pressure cooker, so it doesn't foam too much and clog the release. This will go in. You just want to make sure all the rice is down in the water. And then we'll start that for 22 minutes.
All right.
Okay. How do you actually start it? Oops. I don't know how to make it actually start. It's different than mine.
Let's see.
It does? Oh, mine turns off if you don't actually press it.
Okay.
So, all right. Rice is
so we're good there, 22 minutes with our
rice. The
rice
rice is going. So now we're going to get the vegetables into the oven. So Darrell, I'm going to have you stir up the olive oil with our spices. And we're using smoked paprika. Here's a spoon. You can just add the spices and stir them.
Right here?
Just into that one.
Okay.
It's smoked paprika, ground coriander, cumin, salt, and pepper. And we are using a light salt that I can talk about. This is, again, you can find this at Fred Meyer, and it's half sodium chloride, which is regular table salt, and half potassium chloride. So it tastes like salt. You can use it just like salt in a recipe, but it has half the sodium of regular salt. So it's good for people who are on a sodium restricted diet, someone who's trying to lower their blood pressure or has other reasons why they might be on a sodium restricted diet. So it's a good way that you can still kind of add some flavor to your food, but not use quite as much sodium.
Okay. And the potassium is also.
Yeah, and it's half potassium, and potassium is actually really beneficial for lowering blood pressure, especially if you do have a higher sodium meal. The increased potassium in your diet can help to blunt the response on your blood pressure. So I'm always trying to get my patients to eat more potassium, which is found in a lot of fruits and vegetables. So we know that's always a beneficial thing for a lot of reasons, and the potassium content is one of them. But this is a way that we can add a little bit of extra potassium. So you can just drizzle the olive oil and the spices onto, we have just some chopped mushrooms and chopped carrots that we've added here.
All right, everyone, drizzling.
Drizzling.
Make sure you drizzle responsibly.
Beautiful.
All right.
Okay. Now we're just going to stir this so it's all coated. All right, looks good, and then we'll spread it on a sheet pan, and we're going to roast this at about 425 for about 20 minutes.
All right.
All right. Take that. Thank you.
Roasting.
Got it
Be
in. All right, so we're
careful.
going to pop that in the oven.
Correctly. Okay.
All right. So we'll let that go. And I think now we're going to take our first break, I believe.
All right. We'll be back after these messages, everyone.
Feed the Mass is excited to be a community partner of New Seasons Market. So the next time you're at the checkout, ask to be a part of the New Seasons Hunger Campaign, and a portion of the proceeds will go to Feed the Mass to help us continue to empower, educate, and serve.
Hey guys, super excited. Feed the Mass is partnering with DEQ to put on an event at the Food Innovation Center. It's going to be talking all about Food Prevention Week. It's all about learning how to prevent food waste, reduce food waste, and turn food into actual growth. So we're going to be doing urban agriculture classes, cooking classes, and we're going to be giving away prizes, including potentially some grow lights. So if you want to learn how to cook and you also want to learn how to grow, go to feedthemass.org/classes and sign up. It's free. See you guys soon.
All right, we are back from break. Thank you for sticking with us. I am very excited, Darrell, to be here tonight because we've actually not restarted our cooking classes since we shut everything down for the pandemic. So I am really happy to be cooking for people. And why don't you tell me a little bit about Black Men's Wellness and what you do?
Well, Black Men's Wellness is a community health initiative that I launched in late 2019 to address high blood pressure and improving health outcomes in Black and African American men. The way we do that is we host workshops around nutrition, sedentary lifestyle, so physical fitness, mental health and wellness specifically, especially stress and anxiety reduction, and increasing access to outdoor activities. Black men are actually the highest known population in regards to fatalities related to heart disease and hypertension. I myself was diagnosed with hypertension, so I was just looking for some holistic ways to address it, and this is how I did it. I did it just getting out on hikes more, really being mindful about what I put in my body, and making sure that I get the proper amount of exercise. And I began by just inviting friends on that journey with me on a case-by-case basis. And here we are. You can find us on Instagram at Black Men's Wellness PDX on Instagram, blackmenswellness.org, and if you click our message buttons, then you'll be automatically registered to participate in our workshops. So you'll get a notification and an intake sheet, and yeah.
That's great. What a great resource. Are the workshops free or is there a cost?
The workshops are free to the community.
That's wonderful.
They are 100% free. So that's a barrier that we wanted to address. I don't feel like, people should be charged to have access to their own personal health and wellness. So yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad to learn more about it. I think that that's really great. All right, so we are going to get back to the cooking. Now we're going to make our quick pickled onion, and I really like these because once they're made and in the fridge, they'll be good for about 2 weeks, and I put them on everything. I'll put them on, tacos and salads and all sorts of things. So they just add a lot of flavor without a lot of sodium or calories or anything like that. So first off, I'm going to have you add a cup of water to the big jar.
All right, 1 cup of water.
And then apple cider vinegar. You could use, red wine vinegar or other types of vinegar, but apple cider is what we're using today. And then we've got a tablespoon of sugar and a teaspoon of, again, we're using our light salt, which is half potassium, half sodium. And then put the lid on that and just shake it really well until the sugar dissolves.
All right. And apple cider vinegar has some amazing health properties just on its own, right?
Well, I think some of the health properties might be a little bit overblown if you Google it, but there are benefits just to vinegar in general. It does seem to help a little bit with digestion, and it can lower blood sugar a little bit if you have, vinegar with a meal, like a salad dressing or something, and it can help lower the blood sugar response after the meal, which is great for a lot of people. And it is a great way to add a ton of flavor as you're cutting back on your salt use. So I am a big proponent of using different flavored vinegars in recipes.
So we have a question from one of our viewers. They want to know if you have a YouTube channel for Black Men's Wellness.
We do not have a YouTube channel for Black Men's Wellness yet. We are working on that, as we have a ton of videos and content to release. But it is something that we're working on setting up by the summer.
Great. How are we looking there?
Great.
Okay. So we just have 1 red onion that I sliced up, and we're gonna, we're gonna actually put these into the jar.
Okay.
And then we can just kind of let them sit. Break them up a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna grab a spoon and just squish them down a little so that everything's covered. And that's it. Now we're just gonna let those sit while we make the rest of the ingredients, and they will get more flavorful, you know, if you let them sit overnight. So it's something you could certainly make in advance.
Okay, so they can stay in the jar indefinitely and be fine, or no?
Usually about 2 weeks. You know, they tend to lose a little texture and start looking a little bit funky after that. So
Okay.
I'd say 2 weeks is probably about
Awesome.
right. Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna make our chickpeas, and this is something that I make probably twice a week. We don't eat a lot of meat at my house, not because we're vegetarians, just because my kids are picky about meat. So I make these a lot, and we just periodically my kids will become vegetarians, and so I'll make this as their option if we're having meat. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of olive oil to a skillet over medium-high, because you want these to cook over pretty high heat. We're gonna add, this is 2 cans of chickpeas that I rinsed really well and drained, and then I set them on a towel and just patted them dry. The drier they are, the crispier they'll get.
Okay.
So that's actually a pretty important step. And we're gonna add a little bit of our light salt and then just stir that to coat them with the oil. And the hardest part about this is not stirring them. I tend to stir things often, but they get crispy if you don't stir them.
Okay.
It's really hard for me.
So it's best to let them sit.
We're just gonna let them sit there and do their thing for a while. So they'll kind of pop around in the pan. That's part of it. But let's talk a little bit about canned beans. So I use canned beans just about every single day of the week for something, because again, we don't eat a lot of meat at my house. We eat some, but we're trying to eat, you know, more plant-based, and I think beans are a great way to get protein and a lot of fiber and a lot of potassium too. So again, great for heart health. Canned beans can be kind of high in sodium. So I know people are always kind of watching their intake of canned vegetables if they're on a sodium restricted diet. But always look at the label. From brand to brand, there's a huge variation in the sodium content, especially with canned beans. So some might be, you know, 300 milligrams per serving. These are 80 milligrams per serving. I get these at Costco. So you can also put these in a strainer like I did and rinse them really well, and that washes away almost half the sodium that's listed on the label.
Oh, wow.
So that's a really important thing, is to really rinse it. Getting that cooking liquid fluid off will really get rid of a lot of the sodium that's listed on it. All right. I want to stir it already, but I'm going to try not to.
I'm tempted to as well.
I know, it's hard, right? I was with a friend, and she was making these chickpeas, and I noticed that she just did not stir them at all, and they were much better than I've ever made. So
Yeah.
I'm trying.
So we talk a little bit about hypertension and how this meal
Yeah.
counteracts that.
Absolutely. So it is a pretty high potassium meal. We know that we're using the light salt, which adds some potassium to it, but we're also getting potassium from the vegetables, the carrots, the cabbage that we're adding later, the chickpeas. These are all adding potassium to the meal. So altogether, the final meal has 1,642 milligrams of potassium for the whole day.
Yeah.
I am going to stir it. We want to get to about 4,200 milligrams. So for one meal, this is a good chunk of that. If you do that 3 times a day, then you're going to be right at that level. So they're getting nice and brown and crispy. That's great. So getting more potassium in the diet is great. There are some exceptions. Sometimes people do have to be on a low potassium diet for if they have kidney disease or some other reason. So if your doctors have told you to limit your potassium, obviously don't switch to the light salt. But otherwise, for most of us, getting more potassium is a good thing.
Okay.
Something else that's really beneficial for blood pressure management in particular are these purple vegetables that we're using. So we're using the red onions and the red cabbage that we'll get to later on. But the pigment in those vegetables that make them purple is called anthocyanin. And the anthocyanins are a type of phytonutrient that actually has a lot of really strong blood pressure lowering benefits. So getting these purple vegetables in the diet can be really helpful for lowering blood pressure also, which is part of the reason why we want to have a variety of plant-based foods, so we're getting the benefits from all the different colors.
And how does this meal fare for some of us who might be diabetic?
That's a great question. So the total carbohydrates on this meal, and we have the recipe and it should have the full nutrition label posted, it's 76 grams of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are very demonized and scary to a lot of people, so that probably sounds like a lot. The fiber content is 17 grams. So it is a very, very high fiber meal, which really, really changes how your body's going to process those carbohydrates in it. So it's really, really healthy carbohydrates. There's no added sugars and no processed refined grains. It's all whole grains and good high fiber things. So if you take the fiber out of the total carbohydrate count, then you're left with closer to 60 grams of usable carbs, which is a very reasonable amount for someone with diabetes to consume. So plant-based meals tend to be a little bit higher in carbohydrates just because, the plant-based proteins like beans do have some carbs, but the impact on our blood sugar tends to be pretty minimal because of that fiber content.
All right, I'm gonna check on our
All right,
vegetables
yeah, that's probably
here.
good. They might need a little stir.
All right.
These beans are looking fantastic. Those are looking good also.
All right.
Beautiful.
Do I just want to set these?
Let me give those a little, I'm gonna set them down. I think you can set it right on here.
All right.
We'll pop them back in for a few minutes, but I'll give them a stir. These are looking perfect. And you don't have to use, if you don't like carrots or you don't like mushrooms, use anything else. You can use, sweet potatoes or broccoli or cauliflower. Anything that you've got lying around would work really well in this dish. I tend to roast a lot of vegetables because I like the flavor that it yields.
All right, gonna pop these.
Okay,
back
so
in.
everything is coming together. As these get a little bit crisper, I'm gonna add some garlic to it, just some minced garlic, and then they'll be ready. A lot of times if I'm just making this with another dish, I'll add it to salads or to other types of meals. I'll throw in, some chopped basil or cilantro at the end just to give them a little bit more flavor. But for this dish, we've got enough components that I'm just gonna leave them with just the garlic.
So we have a question from Sabrina online. She asked, does consumption of beets help reduce hypertension?
Consumption of wheat or beets?
Beets with a B.
Yes, that is an excellent question. So beets are that deep purpley red, which means that they're a good source of anthocyanins, which is great. But beets do have some other additional blood pressure lowering benefits, and you can actually get beet juice that can help with blood pressure lowering a little bit. But I always encourage eating actual whole fruits and vegetables over drinking too much juice. So, and plus it's expensive. So buy beets, roast them up, steam them up, however you want to get them. Include the beet greens because those are very nutrient dense also. So I like buying beets because you get 2 vegetables for the price of 1.
You always hear that eating vegetables raw are the best way to get the nutrients out of them, and cooking them. I've heard that cooking actually kills those nutrients. Is that something is there truth to that? Or
That is a great question. There's some truth to that, and then some not so much truth to that. So some vegetables, they are more nutrient dense, and the nutrients are more bioavailable if you have them raw or even lightly steamed. Others, the nutrients are better absorbed if they are cooked somewhat. It helps to actually absorb some of those nutrients. So it's important to eat a variety of vegetables cooked in a variety of methods. You do lose, if you are boiling vegetables, you do lose things like vitamin C, some water-soluble vitamins. But if you're making a soup, then you're drinking the broth and you're getting those vitamins. They're just going to be in the broth. But if you boil a vegetable and then drain it off, then you do lose some of those water-soluble vitamins. But prepare things in a variety of ways. Eat a variety of plant-based foods.
All right, we're gonna move into a short break, and we'll be right back after this message. See you guys in just a little bit.
Feed the Mass is excited to be a community partner of New Seasons Market. So the next time you're at the checkout, ask to be a part of the New Seasons Hunger Campaign, and a portion of the proceeds will go to Feed the Mass to help us continue to empower, educate, and serve.
Feed the Mass is excited to announce our summer program for 2023. This summer, we are continuing our mission to provide holistic education for middle schoolers and high schoolers in our community. Our summer program is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. starting June 21st and goes through August 4th. Classes include urban agriculture, cooking and nutrition, wellness, and we provide education and support throughout the summer. We know how valuable it is to have safe space for children, and we do our best to ensure every student is seen, heard, and secure in our community. If you want to sign your students, go to feedthemass.org/summer today. Spots are limited, and they fill up quickly. Have a great day, and see you this summer. Hey guys, super excited. Feed the Mass is partnering with DEQ to put on an event at the Food Innovation Center. It's going to be talking all about Food Prevention Week. It's all about learning how to prevent food waste, reduce food waste, and turn food into actual growth. So we're going to be doing urban agriculture classes, cooking classes, and we're going to be giving away prizes, including potentially some grow lights. So if you want to learn how to cook and you also want to learn how to grow, go to feedthemass.org/classes and sign up. It's free. See you guys soon.
Welcome back, everyone.
All right. I'm going to finish up the chickpeas because they're looking good. We're going to just add in, this is about 3 cloves of garlic. And then stir that up, and then just another minute or 2 so the garlic can cook, and we'll take them off. All right, and while we wait, we can make our sauce.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is just a tahini lemon sauce. It has a harissa, which is kind of a chili spice paste, which is delicious. But if you don't have any, you can just use regular hot sauce. So we're going to start by, I'll let you do this. We have tahini, which is ground sesame seeds, like sesame seed paste.
Okay.
You might need the spatula to get it out. And again, you can get this at Fred Meyer. You don't have to go to a specialty store for this. It adds a lot of flavor. It's nice to have around.
That is thick.
Yeah, I know it is thick. But it's great for, especially if you have nut allergies, because it's seed-based, so that is a good thing to have around for various dishes. I'm going to stop this now.
So tahini is a type of seed then?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we have the tahini, and then we are going to add lemon juice. You can, here, I'll take this.
All right.
Juice that lemon half. Perfect.
Smells good.
Excellent. And then we will, here, I'll just take it, toss in the garlic, and then this is the harissa paste. Again, use hot sauce if that's what you have on hand. And I think I actually need some water for that.
Then harissa paste.
A little bit of our salt here. And then a little bit of water. And then we can stir.
So, or we
You gonna
just,
stir it with this or whisk it, or
yeah.
I think that'll work.
So how much water do we normally want in just,
A third of a cup. I didn't add quite all of it because sometimes you can add a little bit more, a little bit less, just depending on how thick you want it.
okay.
So hopefully that will come together. I can grab a whisk if that would be easier.
We might want to go whisk with
Let me
this
see.
one.
I think there's one right down here.
A little mini whisk.
It's looking a little bit, I don't know. Well, that is mini. All right, so we'll whisk that up. And this sauce is great on, roasted vegetables or chicken or fish if you've got that, because it does make more than you will use just for this recipe. So you can use it for different things.
Yeah,
You
there
may
we
have
go.
overshot the water a little bit, but that's still going to taste good.
Whisk, yeah. It's thickening up. There we go.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
It's still breaking down.
And you can adjust the harissa or hot sauce depending on how spicy you like things. Nice. I'm gonna check the vegetables, which look perfect.
Smells really good.
So here are our cooked vegetables all ready to roll. And I'm going to add these to this bowl. And now we just have to kind of focus on additional toppings. So we're going to chop up some herbs and some cabbage, which I think is nice because it adds a lot of texture. It's nice and crunchy when it can be a lot of softer things.
Can we do a quick reminder for those who maybe are joining us about the cookbook opportunity?
Absolutely. So we do have our heart protection cookbook available. It's here behind me. For the first 30 people to contact us, we have a free copy for you. So we can, you can visit our Instagram page and send us a DM and like the page at Feed the Mass, and we will contact you about how to pick up one of the copies of the cookbook. If you're after the first 30, then you're welcome to go to powells.com or Amazon to buy one. All right, so our vegetables are ready. That is ready. So now we are just going to slice up the cabbage.
All right.
The rice is ready. Good. So the rice is ready. We'll let that sit for a few minutes while we get these last few steps ready.
Can we stop the venting?
It has to sit for like a few minutes.
How thin do we want our cabbage? Do we
Totally
know?
up to you. It's just going to be kind of a topping, so bite-sized pieces probably.
Okay.
Very nice. I'm going to take the mint and chop that a little bit. So we've got our veggies, onions, our beans, and our sauce.
So we're doing ribbons or doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. I'm pretty flexible.
Okay.
However you want to do it, just cut off the core.
I'm quite enjoying slicing the cabbage, so I'm just going to keep going.
Approved.
All right, so we've got some mint. Cilantro also works really well on this. It smells amazing. And it all came together pretty quickly,
I feel like a kid.
which I'm a big fan of.
So what's your favorite recipe in the cookbook?
Oh, that's a great question. There is a recipe that I make all the time that's a raspberry oat bar. So I make it, it's kind of like
sounds
baked
dope.
oatmeal, essentially. And you just slice them into little squares and they freeze really well. So I'll make a big batch and freeze them, and then they're great for a quick breakfast or snacks. I send them to school with my kids as a snack, and they love them. And it's just like frozen raspberries and oats and milk, and it's super fast, but really, really delicious.
These are like just cereal bars.
Kind of.
essentially.
Yeah, if you don't have time to make oatmeal, it's a quick way to get it.
Someone asked what is the name of the cookbook, and
so the cookbook is called Heart Protection Kitchen. You can find it at powells.com. I don't know if they have them in the store anymore. It was published in 2020, so it's been out for a little while. You can find them anywhere they sell books online, so Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Powell's, all will sell the cookbook. You can also, if you're at OHSU, you can go to March Wellness, which is at Center for Health and Healing, Building 1, and they have them for sale there.
Or you can DM us at Feed the Mass
Even better.
on Instagram,
There's only 5 people in the chat.
I know.
and you will get a free meal. It looks like your chances are pretty high.
Very good chance of getting a cookbook out of this.
Very good chance that you're going to walk away with a free
That's
cookbook
right,
if you want
that's
one.
right.
And how much do they run normally?
$25.
So $25. Save yourself $25.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm looking at our DMs. We haven't had one person DM us yet.
Not a
so-
single person.
Slide into those
At Feed the
DMs, people.
Mass, send us a message. Lots of cookbooks to be had. All right, so I think this is everything. I will vent the rice. Don't be alarmed. I'll scoot it out a little bit. So we just want to release the pressure in the pressure cooker so we can open the lid.
You can, if you want, unplug it and bring it to the front.
That's a better idea. All right. Thank you. We will bring it over so we can see.
Or you can clean your glasses
I
with
know.
the steam if
Get
you
a
wanted
little
to.
facial steam. I usually put a towel over it because sometimes it will kind of
cooking hack.
splatter a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Multitasking. All right, so you just want that little silver piece to drop, and then you can take the lid off, and there you go. Beautiful brown rice.
Beautiful brown
Cooked in
rice.
half the time if you'd made it on the stovetop, so I'm a big fan of that. So this is everything. So now we can just plate things up.
So we put it on
Right?
both.
Do we need a break? I got some bowls out already. All right. Okay, so we can just use the same spoon, right? So we'll kind of stir that rice up a little bit. Here, I'll serve yours. Okay, so some rice. We'll add some of our beautiful roasted vegetables. Do you want to get yours?
Oh, thank you.
We need more big spoons. Like a big spoon?
Oh, I was just going to say regular spoon.
Regular spoons, I can do that. Okay. We'll add some of these nice crispy chickpeas. There you go. And I'm going to wait on the onions and do the cabbage first. Little handful of cabbage on top for some crunch. I'm going to use a literal handful. All right, so we're already looking very colorful.
Yours looks better than mine.
That's okay, yours looks great. It's all going to the same place. All right, now our tahini sauce just drizzled on top. That looks nice. Here you go. Now I'll add, and again, the onions will be better tomorrow, but they're still going to be delicious. Some of these pickled onions for flavor. And there's, a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt in the brine, but it's a negligible amount that you actually are consuming, so that's fine. I'm going to add some of those. And then I will top with, and serve this with the mint that we chopped and a lemon wedge. So some mint. You have everything?
Yep.
Okay. And then some lemon juice. All right. Here's your lemon. Beautiful.
All right,
So
there we
here's
go.
the finished product, yeah. You're welcome to, if a plant-based meal does not feel in your comfort zone, you're welcome to add chicken or shrimp or fish or some sort of animal protein to this. There's plenty of protein here, but I understand some people need some kind of meat to feel satisfied. All right.
All right. That's our workshop. Once again, this is another wonderful cooking workshop brought to you by Feed the Mass. Black Men's Wellness, and OHSU, in partnership with REACH, Multnomah County, Racial and Ethnic Approaches to Community Health. Thank you all for joining us, and see you next time.
Thank you.
And enjoy. Bon appetit.
Feed the Mass is excited to be a community partner of New Seasons Market. So the next time you're at the checkout, ask to be a part of the New Seasons Hunger Campaign, and a portion of the proceeds will go to Feed the Mass to help us continue to empower, educate, and serve.